The 2024 season has been predicted to be monotonous and one-sided yet again, but that has changed massively after the latest statements from teams like Mercedes and Ferrari. The warnings that have come out from these teams have rung alarm bells in Red Bull, as the Austrian team already feared that an equalization is on its way in the following years as well. To top that off, the FIA's latest rule that prohibits the teams from working on their 2026 challenges means more bad news for Red Bull, and all of a sudden we might have a competitive season in 2024 after all. So can Ferrari and Mercedes spice things up as they promised? And if so, what's their plan to take down Red Bull from the reign? It's safe to say that Red Bull enjoyed one of the most, if not the most, dominant seasons in the existence of the sport in the previous campaign, and due to the fact that there will be zero to no changes to the entire technical regulations of the sport, the expectations that this will repeat all over again in 2024 were very well founded. That, however, changed after the last statements from Mercedes and Ferrari, and more precisely, the FIA's latest rule. We'll get over all of these explanations in our video, so make sure to stay fastened to your seat because it's going to be an exciting ride. Let's start with the FIA's rule change, more precisely the adjustment that prohibits teams from working on their 2026 challenges. This is where it all starts to go downhill for Red Bull. Potentially, if I may add, because it's still uncertain whether the Austrian team will have rivals that would fight them for the win in 2024 and 2025. However, many of their rivals saw the 2026 regulations as the only ones in which they could catch up to Red Bull, which is why they already gave up on trying in 2024 and 2025. This would negatively affect the sport in so many ways, apart from the one-sided dominance of Verstappen and Red Bull, such as the drop in ratings, viewership and popularity, especially in the newly gained market in the USA. So what the FIA did was prohibit the teams from working on their 2026 challenges until the 2025 season comes by. Therefore, Red Bull will have a proper challenge to defend themselves in the next couple of years, and Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren will all have to try and build a competitive car for these seasons just because it's the only thing they can do in the meantime. And that's why Hamilton's latest statement does come as a bit of a surprise, because it was him who said that seeing where Verstappen ended the last race in Abu Dhabi in 2023, we should already guess where the 2024 season is going. But that's changed after he visited the wind tunnel in Brackley, where the workers are tirelessly trying to implement all of Hamilton and Russell's feedback for the W15, a car that is taking a more traditional and conventional approach after 2 years of experimenting and trying a wild concept in order to get a massive leap on their rivals. Elaborating on this, Hamilton has sent a fierce threat to Red Bull that the 2024 championship is anything but sealed before it even starts. As the seven-time world champion said, "It's always the exciting time of the year because I've seen the car in the wind tunnel. I always go by the wind tunnel when I go to the factory, and to see it evolving in whichever direction it ends up going. As soon as I was leaving, again, I popped in just to see where we were, and when I come back, it'll be again a different animal. But I have full faith in everyone that's working on it and hopeful that we'll be in a much more competitive position next year. I have to say a big congratulations to Red Bull and to Max and Checo. They've done an incredible job this year. Max was faultless. I hope we come back next year and give it everything." Now, this is a massive change in philosophy because we haven't actually heard that much of Hamilton when it comes to the positive spotlight for Mercedes in the following years. This also changes the landscape about his commitment to the team, one that has been brought into question quite a few times in the past couple of months as Mercedes faced the departure of technical staff and the failure to figure out what was going wrong with their car. Be that as it may, Hamilton's biggest challenge in 2024 might not be Verstappen, but Russell, as his younger colleague has threatened, will also have a say in how the next season is going to pan out, something that we discussed in our previous video. On top of this, Toto Wolff said that he expects the W15 to gain around 2.5 seconds of performance in 2024, and if this turns out to be true, then I guess we'll hear the British anthem after all in the upcoming campaign. Of course, the other teams will also make gains as they have slowly but surely started to understand the Red Bull way is the right way. But with the Austrian team having such a lead on everything, it's very difficult to say whether 3 months are enough to even out the difference in performance. It's not only Hamilton and Wolff who sent fierce warnings towards Red Bull regarding the 2024 season. Ferrari has released an official date for their car reveal, and Fred Vasseur said that it's 95% different than what we saw in 2023. This is a huge improvement if it turns out to be true, but knowing Ferrari, they always come up with promises like this and then end up botching up their own race by faulty strategy, reliability issues, as well as driver mistakes. So until we see something happening on the track, then I guess all of this should be taken with reserve. Regardless, making such strong statements in public is not something that should be underestimated. And when talking about this in more detail, Vasseur went on to add, "1 year ago, it was quite a challenge because I joined quite late. It was a huge wave of things to manage, to understand and to discover in a couple of weeks. It was 4 weeks before the launch and 5 or 6 weeks before the Bahrain race when I joined, but now I think it's a much more comfortable situation. I don't know if revolution is the right word for our 2024 car. We have the same regulations now 3 years in a row, so you can't change massively. It's a matter of tenths of a second. For sure, we have to do a step on that. We don't underestimate the step. We are changing 95% of the components. Perhaps you can consider that it's a revolution. I don't know if it will be." Vasseur has also stressed that the involvement of Sainz and Leclerc in how the car is slowly but surely shaping up to be is massive, which also contributes to Ferrari's expectations in 2024 as well, as we can never turn a blind eye to the improvements that have been made by Aston Martin and McLaren this year, especially from the Woking-based squad as they managed to fight for podiums after not being even in the points in the first couple of races in 2023. Red Bull also understands the threats that are coming their way, and they have not been shy about expressing them in public. Of course, they can always count on the dominance of Verstappen, but with how volatile Perez has been in the 2023 season, keeping the seat for P2 alive up until the penultimate race in Las Vegas, I highly doubt he will be a serious contender next year, and I also very much hope he will prove me wrong. Regardless, his seat is under a huge fire right now, and with the emergence of many teams in 2024, it seems like Verstappen will have to single-handedly win both championships yet again, a mission that will be anything but as easy as the 2023 one. Elaborating on this matter even further, Christian Horner expressed his fears that the 2023 dominance is not going to repeat once more, elaborating, "This season, I doubt it will be repeated in my lifetime. With such strong opposition as well, such strong teams and stable regulations, I am sure next year is going to be a lot closer, a lot tighter, and a different kind of challenge. Mercedes are a great team. They've had a really dominant period. They are obviously having a tougher time at the moment, but I'm sure they will be coming back fully motivated next year. We have no doubt about that. I'm sure the rivalry intensity will be just as strong as ever." With this in mind, do you think that Red Bull has what it takes in order to defend themselves in 2024? And if not, who do you think will have the biggest potential to dethrone them? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.